You are listening to the Eskimo Empire Podcast, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Empire. It's the Eskimo Empire Podcast.
Riley's in the shotgun, looking downfield, and then throws. It is up in the air to the goal line. Bounces. What a catch! What a catch by Duke Williams! Touchdown, Eskimos! Bryant Mitchell. It's going to be intercepted. Arjun Colhoun. 108 yards to the end zone. Vidal Hazelton.
Welcome back to the Turf District for the Eskimo Empire Podcast, brought to you by United Construction Company. You can find all the good work they do at unitedconstruction.ca. And of course, you can find us at eskempire.ca for all of our social media channels, the amazing blogs, and of course, the show links. I'm your host, Andrew, and I'm joined, as always, by the one and only Superfan Mike.
Well, hi there.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's the football.
It's week one. How exciting.
Oh,
yes,
so
it's fantastic. And we have no web mistress Kayla today, unfortunately. No. She's working a bit more on some stuff with the website and putting up some more blogs. You saw all the pictures on there.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Oh, she's doing amazing work. So, yep. I mean, we always miss her here, but I know she's getting that all tuned up to
exactly.
Make sure it's all
You're sort of torn, right? It's like, she should be here, it'd be great, but then at the same time, she's also doing some great stuff with the pictures on the site.
Exactly. So, well, we'll let it go.
This time.
That's right. Next week.
She'll be here next week.
Absolutely. Now, you and I got to go and have a little UT visit.
Yeah, we got to go visit and sort of comb through the UT collection.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
That was a lot of fun. And it's been a while, so it's good to see him.
Yes.
And sort of, catch up and visit and everything else and just sort of pick up basically where it left off.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, we got to go home with some nice little goodies.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
We left a bunch there.
Yes.
So there are still other ones.
Some things left,
if people, again, want something for their collection, maybe a nice Father's Day gift, just get a hold of UT through the podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
And we'll hook you up. And like I said, and he loves visitors. I mean,
he loves chatting about all the stuff.
Exactly. So he's got stories behind everything. So it's often a lot of fun. And like I said, we got some mini helmets.
Yes. So you got the
I got Jason Tucker.
Right. Yes.
Which is who.
Yeah, exactly. I got the Cavis Reed.
Nice.
Yes, mini helmet. So that was one of my faves. So
absolutely. And then, some old 2005, 6, 7 team-issued cards as well.
Yes. We got a whole bunch of things to give away on the podcast.
We do.
So that's pretty cool. And I think the big one for me, though, was the plaque-mounted picture with Rolly Miles, Jackie Parker, Normie Kwong, and Johnny Bright.
Yeah, so I figure that's probably from when they were inducted into the Wall of Honor in 83.
Yeah.
Just gives you chills looking at that photo. Just
It's very cool.
20-some-odd years later, 30 years later after they finished playing and Yeah, just a special moment.
Yeah, I really like that one. So it was really cool to do that. Now,
and it's still there.
It is. Neat, eh?
Still available.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that picture is mine.
Oh, did you get that one?
Yeah.
Well, I'm stealing that.
I got that.
It's here.
It's going up in the Turf District here.
Totally stealing that.
Even says to Tim on it, so I've got a little extra UT in the room.
There you go.
See? I'm very excited about it. Yeah, it's awesome. Because it's signed by Normie Kwong.
Didn't say to Jim?
No, it says Tim on that one. That's good. Yeah. Now, we talked about it on the Periscope, but we do have a bit of a fun announcement to make.
We do.
Superfan.
Got a couple of great stuff.
Absolutely. So the big one is we are going to be holding the first ever Empire/UCC Westivus in the park.
Oh, it's kind of great.
I'm so excited. Thursday, August 9th, which is an away game against BC. We're going to have tailgating right at UCC.
Yep. And
then followed by that, we're going to have the game played on an outdoor 14-foot screen.
Yeah, fun.
So great big screen to sit and watch together, enjoy the game on a Thursday night. Got to bring your own lawn chairs and some food, but there will be some barbecues there, and we'll have some pop and snacks. We'll have some prizes there. We're going to have some jumpy castles if you want to bring kids.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a food truck there as well, I'd heard.
Supposedly we're going to work on that, yes, for sure. So that'll be really, really cool. Now, we only have so many spots for this.
That's right.
because it is being held at the UCC building, which is kind of just west of Edmonton. So if you want to come, RSVP to us by email at eskempirepod@shaw.ca. We will find you a spot, and we'll fill up those limited spots to just hang out with a bunch of our podcast buddies and sit and watch a football game.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic. Anytime you can tailgate, it's always a great thing.
Absolutely.
Getting a bunch of your friends and family, football family, all together to watch a game just makes it a special time.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be an awesome way to get together and do that. And plus, watching a game on a 14-foot screen outside, yes,
right.
Please. So
Exactly.
much fun. It's going to be a blast.
And we can't thank UCC enough for helping put this together, because it's going to be such a great time. Absolutely.
Yeah, they reached out and said, hey, what do you think about doing this? And I said, yeah, when can we do this? And so we found a way to do it. And I mean, fantastic sponsor, and they're trying to find ways to bring us all together. So
and they just make it fun. They really get it when it comes to football.
Absolutely. So I can't wait for that. So make sure you email us if you want in, and we'll fill up some spots there and get everybody over on August the 9th. Now, our other kind of things that we had to announce are kind of new segments that we're doing in the podcast. Right. Now, we'll kind of announce those as they come in the show tonight, because I think it'll make it more fun, right? But don't forget, at the end of the podcast, it is week 1, so we will have the annual reading of the night before football.
Perfect.
I know you'd be excited.
I am.
All right, let's get to our guest, shall we?
Yes,
returning once again, the master of Esks Stats and one of our favorite guys to have on the podcast, Uncle BD, as you know him on Twitter. It's the one and only Brian. How you doing, man?
Are you ready for some football?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So ready.
It's been a long winter, boys.
Oh, it's been, we're...
They always are.
They always are.
That last month is so hard. Like, the last month, you're just like, come on, let's go. And then you get camp and you kind of get that excitement, and then it's like, when it's a game.
And let's be honest, it's a week longer than we would have liked.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just 1 week.
One week.
Just one. All right. Well, that's all right. Hey, you know what? We're into it now. Week 1. So excited. Now, before we get started with that, though, I just want to ask you really briefly, because I did your reports from Vegas that you gave to me.
Yeah.
But give us a little bit of a sense of what it's like to be down there in Vegas for the minicamp.
It's hot. Yeah, first of all, it's hot. But this year it was special because the veterans came.
Yes.
Last year it was a lot of first years, a lot of guys they just signed from all their trial camps. Mm-hmm. And again, day 1 was a trial camp, which
of course,
it was exciting because we got to meet Zachary Barnes and we got to meet Mr. Rivers there, Gerald Rivers.
Gerald Rivers,
And
you met him in a very lit place, didn't you?
Very lit place.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
It kind of scared me the first time I saw him, but it's like,
and the second,
I can't.
The third.
Well, hopefully he's going to scare a few quarterbacks.
That's the hope. That's the hope, yes.
But it was outstanding to see those two gentlemen go through, like there was 100 guys there trying out.
Yeah.
And you could, with your eyes, you could tell there was something special about those two. They stood out.
Well, you said they passed the eye test.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We were fortunate. We were sitting down where they were testing the broad jump, and the explosion they got out of their legs, the power in their legs, I think both of them were 1 and 2 for all 100 guys.
Right. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was special to watch. And then, of course, the next day when we showed up for day 1 with all the vets and everything, there's Zachary Barnes right next to all of them.
Absolutely.
And it just brought a smile to our faces because, sometimes as observers, you kind of say, well, I think this is a good player. This is a good player. That's a good player. It sat true with you. So it's like, hey, it validated me as a spectator, as a fan.
That's awesome.
Made me feel special. But yeah, the Eskimos, this is their second year down there. And of course, I think we were remembered from last year. The coaching staff came by and said hello. Had a good talk with Mr. Princeton, and he's a former West End kid himself, and a former Dairy Queen Raider, like myself. So we had some common kids to talk common players that we talked about.
Awesome.
And of course, Dwayne came by, and he made sure we were taken care of. Like I said off the top, like I said, it was hot, and he'd come by and say, "Are you guys good for water?" And he would literally go through, and if I didn't show him the water, I'm pretty sure he would have brought some water over to us. But he did that, and of course Brock came by and said hello. And one of the interesting things with Brock is like anything you can get you, we'll see what we can do for you. And he took a couple steps away, and I just said, "How about a championship ring?" And he looked back and said, "You and me both." So that was one of the little stories. So.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome. I'd love to go down there for that 1 year. Just for an experience, right? That mini camp feel
question.
and they're in a different zone, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's
awesome.
But what's great too is that you get to meet some family and friends that are on the sideline.
Right.
Kenny Stafford's dad was there.
Nice.
And
that's awesome.
You got to talk to him.
Co-host Kenny. Yeah.
But he ended up taking pictures with my father-in-law and thought that was something special.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Go ahead.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
very cool.
So my father-in-law felt pretty special, and my father-in-law is a little mobility limited, so we brought his wheelchair and had his walker there as well. But on day one after the full team practice, these guys were offering, "Oh, can we help push you to the parking lot?" And of course, a little bit of pride jumped in there, but he said, "No. Day 2, it was just as hot, if not hotter." And he said, "Yes, I'll take you. I'll take a ride." And Neil King pushed him down. And
nice.
And it was Neil who offered the first day, and he said, "Are you sure?" And so he took him up on it the second day, and he had a good conversation with him and a few other guys on the way down, and they waited with him until I managed to get the car around to the parking lot. So, it was all good, and it's just
awesome.
It's the Eskimo way.
Sure.
It's team building, and from day one, that team came out fast. They practiced hard. I think a lot of that has to go to our coaching staff getting them ready. Day 2 is a little slower. The soreness is setting in.
Yeah.
But day 2, you didn't have to see it; you could hear it.
Yeah.
Nice.
And there is some beaking going on by Mr. Hazelton and Duke. They're getting a little
jawing a little bit.
Yeah, they're jawing a little bit, and then JC and Aaron Grimes they gave it back.
They give as good as they get,
and they took it. They took it to the field too on some 1-on-1s, and Aaron jammed Vidal on the very last play of 1-on-1s.
Yeah.
Offense ended up doing push-ups, and Aaron Grimes, I think, still might be his helmet still might be in orbit because he chucked that thing off his head. It was amazing.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I think this team's ready.
Awesome.
They were ready in Vegas.
That's so cool. Well, now they had that camp, of course, then they get back here, they do the regular training camp, and now we find out the cuts.
Yeah.
One of the hardest days in football.
Oh, for sure.
Because there's going to be guys that you like and you liked watching, and they're going to be cut. So let's just run down the list here really fast, and then we can kind of talk about some of these guys. So starting with defensive lineman that you just talked about, Zachary Barnes. Offensive lineman Chauncey Briggs, linebacker Terrence Bullitt, defensive lineman Jason Carr, defensive back Ahmad Dixon, defensive back Alex Gray, wide receiver Shaquille Hill, defensive back Jordan Holland. There goes 27.
Yep.
Linebacker Jeremiah Kosi, offensive lineman Curtis Cron. Wide receiver Kevin Lucas, wide receiver Jamari Looper, wide receiver Scott McDonnell, thank you. Defensive lineman Mark Mackey, Milk Truck. Long snapper Brad Northnagel.
Sad, not much of a surprise, unfortunately, once Kinger got better.
Exactly. Offensive lineman Kelvin Palmer, defensive back Brandon Thompson.
Oof.
That was a surprise one. And running back Blair Zur. And then, of course, today they released national running back Chris Amoa.
So, they released a couple more yesterday or on a Saturday that got re-signed after we...
Exactly, yeah. So, they actually released Pascal Lochard and Maurice McKnight, and then they were re-signed again today. And I don't know if that's maybe part of the PR thing or how that all works.
It could be a shuffling. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
We don't know what the situation is. There could be... all of a sudden, Brock said when we talked to him at Fan Day that just because these people are cut, they're the first people that we're going to call when we need them. So
absolutely,
something could have come up and they said, listen, no, you're back.
Yeah.
And obviously they were happy to do it. So
yeah, for sure. Now, I was able to also kind of piece off, you gave me the CFL transactions page. And so we were kind of able to figure out what the PR might look like.
Right.
So on the PR, this is our guess, mind you, but is Kwabena Asare, Shaq Cooper.
That was a surprise one. It was until the second preseason game.
Absolutely, and we'll get to that in just a second. Tanner Green, Money Hunter, which
That
also
was a surprise.
that one
That was a
surprised me in a
surprise,
big way. Zach Klein, Andrew Peterson, which was also a surprise. Brandon Pittman, Miles Schuler, Nick Usher, and Mason Woods, which was also
that must sting you a little bit too.
Oh, that stung a lot. Like PR for the boy.
The guy that was the part of the trade.
So let's go over Cuts PR. Brian, what are kind of the ones that kind of stand out to you that were a bit surprising?
Well, the biggest surprise for me is Brandon Thompson.
Absolutely.
You know, he's a proven vet. So all that says to me is that Achilles injury is just a little bit worse than we thought.
I believe Brock even did say that it was completely injury related, that he just wasn't where they thought he might be, and it would be a bit longer than what they expected.
Yeah, he said in an interview yesterday that the Esks posted that he's going to be a while, and it didn't seem to be going the way they would hoped. But as soon as he was healthy and back, to that they would be talking and getting him back here. So.
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully. Yes.
The only other surprise I had was Mackey, because he's got a motor that doesn't quit.
Yep.
But I guess it's just a matter of scheme. It's a matter of numbers, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw some great plays from him in training camp.
Absolutely.
Obviously, a great guy. We love him to bits.
Yeah.
But you never know. Like, this doesn't necessarily mean it's the end.
No.
We've had other. I mean, people forget Almondo Sewell was cut in his first training camp.
Yeah, of course.
So it just doesn't mean it's going to be over. And who knows? Maybe we'll see him again. We certainly hope so.
Well, and when you're going up against guys, because I mean, really, you're competing for a backup spot on the defensive tackle position, really,
which isn't a Canadian spot.
Exactly, it isn't a Canadian spot, and you've got Mondo, you've got Mike Moore, you've got Jake Serezna, you've got all of these guys that were showing so well in camp. And I think this is one of those cases, like Brock said, where you're going to have to unfortunately move away from a guy who can still play in this league. Yeah,
I mean, I'd certainly hoped to see him on the PR, and again, you never know, that might still happen. People forget, though, that Darrell Walker started the season on the PR.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so did
Brandon Zylstra.
Brandon Zylstra started the same thing. Our favorite number 80, Bryant Mitchell, was on the PR again last year. So just because these guys are on the practice roster doesn't mean that they can't play.
Oh, of course.
It doesn't mean that we're not going to see them again. So,
yes.
For me, I mean, the two names that stick out, obviously, for me, I'll talk about Shaq Cooper.
Yeah.
This is a guy that in training camp, like we heard all about him from the mini camp.
Yeah.
A guy that really impressed. And when we saw him in camp, like, he was doing some great stuff. And in that first preseason game, like, we all thought he punched his ticket.
Yes,
absolutely. He's going to be backing up. It's hard to get a second import running back on the roster unless he can do something else like return. And unfortunately, as we're going to talk about, that didn't seem to be open. And then, of course, the other one we all loved seeing on Shadrick Hunter.
Oh, of course. Yeah, Money Hunter, I was really surprised because I thought he showed really well. I thought he was going to be that backup half. Yeah. Possibly even the backup Sam. Like, he was...
But maybe that's why he's on the PR.
Yeah, exactly.
A chance to sort of learn both positions, see where he can really come in. And, I mean, even though we're all hoping we don't get a season like last year,
of course,
injuries do happen.
Yes.
And at any point, he's going to be learning the system and hopefully brought back in, and who knows, he could be an all-star.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the good thing on this is now we can talk about some of the guys who have actually made the team.
We have.
Yes.
The two guys we talked to last week, Godfrey Onyeka and Jordan Beaulieu. I said it right on the first
Pretty close,
show. Pretty close, yeah. They both make the team. Nick Taylor, that we talked about, out of Duran Duran, onto the Eskimos. Perfect.
I had a lot of people bug me about that. It's like, there's no one named Nick Taylor in Duran. We know. There's Nick Rhodes and there's the Taylor boys, but you know.
It's funny. Come on now.
Exactly.
And of course, the guy we talked about earlier, Gerald Rivers.
Yes.
So now, I mean, he has to really go and find a black t-shirt that has the Flash logo on it. He can't, like, I told him, no red underneath.
No, or maybe a dark green or something.
Just can't be.
Dark green with a gold lightning bolt would look great.
Wouldn't it? I'd be all right with that.
There's a t-shirt idea.
I would. Ooh.
There we are.
Oh, I'm starting to, all the wheels are turning in the head.
That's right.
Can you hear them?
It's a rushing river.
Something.
I just see smoke.
At least a small creek anyway. Yeah, that's right. So anyone else that you thought might not be on the PR then, Brian?
Well, the one name I'm happy I don't see on either of these lists is our man Calvin McCarty.
That's true.
He's our longest serving Eskimo, and
2007.
It's like he still has it.
Yep.
You watch him out at camp.
Still does enough to be there.
He's a leader out there. He knows what his assignments are. He fills in at tailback, at fullback, at whatever is needed of him, he still does. Absolutely. And of course, he'll make that 100 catch every single game.
Every game he plays, he'll have the one-hander. Yeah, absolutely. Calvin, what do you think about this season?
Let's do it.
We always love talking to Calvin. So let's get now. Interesting thing, we did a fan vote this week. That was one of our new segments, was to do a fan vote and kind of see who is it that you guys wanted us to talk to. And as it turns out, the winner of that is a guy that now, I guess, is going to be our backup running back, quite likely kick returner, as we talked, and probably the reason that Shaq Cooper is on the PR.
Absolutely.
Mr. Jordan Robinson. So let's go to that chat right now. We're joined now by one of the newest members of the Edmonton Eskimos, Jordan Robinson. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing very well. Congratulations on making the team.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Now, this must be a bit different for you. You're a late camp addition, and then now all of a sudden you're making the team looking more like the backup running back. Give us a bit of that process going through camp.
It was definitely a difficult process, especially because the late ad, just going to one of those workouts, just hopefully trying to get something, and then coming in and just making the most of my opportunities that coaches give me, and then that's why I'm here. So we'll see what happens from there.
Well, 2 touchdowns in 2 preseason games doesn't hurt either. We've kind of been longing here for a while for a big kick returner. Do you enjoy that part of the game?
I enjoy the part of the game. Like I said, I still got room to improve, and I still got things I need to show on the field. I'm not the returner or anything close by, but I mean, it's just one of those things that I got in my bag, and hopefully you can use it.
Well, I think the versatility helped to get you here. So now when you're here, and obviously much different field, bigger field than what you're used to, for a guy like you that's a speed guy, does a lot of running, what's that like having that giant field?
It's definitely an advantage on the offensive side of the ball. You don't even have to be a speedster just there's more room that you have, especially from here, than it is from the States. It's just easier for us, and definitely for the offense, it opens up more things. And especially if you are a speedster, if you are one of those guys that can move around, you have more field to work with. So, I mean, it's a blessing. So
take advantage of everything you can.
You have to, yeah.
Now, we want to try to introduce fans to all the new guys, kind of what you're about, all those types of things. What do you like to do when you're not playing football?
When I'm not playing football, if I had to say one thing, it'd probably be in my room watching a movie or something. I'm a big movie dude, so any movie, every movie, I at least watch it once, even if I don't like it.
Do you have a favorite that you go back to?
I don't, actually, and then that's the thing. I don't really like watching them over and over again, so I'll probably get in 2 or 3.
Okay.
But that's about it. Okay.
And is there like a genre? Are you like action guy or just everything?
Everything. I'll watch any movie, romance, action, whatever the case may be. Yeah, I'm into it.
All right. What about music? You like music at all?
Yep, music. I get into a little bit of everything. It's more R&B, rap, hip hop type stuff. I'm not really into country or techno or anything. So I keep it R&B, rap, stuff like that.
Well, see, good thing you're in Edmonton, not Calgary. They do all the country down there. It's way better here.
It's country everywhere. It's worldwide, honestly. So it's everywhere.
All right. How about food? What do you like to eat?
Food? Once again, I'm not picky. I'll eat anything. I get it from my pops, though. So he was in the military, so he traveled a lot. And so he was all these different countries and all these different things. And he instilled into me to at least try something once, even if you don't like it. But he goes overboard. So, yeah, I got my limits and stuff. But I'll at least try to throw some stuff in there once.
And do you find different culture up here coming up to Canada from like a different spot?
Yeah, it's different culture. I feel like I said, I haven't really got around and out like that, but it looks like it's very diverse out here, especially in this area. Yeah. But coming from Southern California, LA area, it's a lot of diversity still anyway. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm kind of used to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, if you're going to be trying to set a goal for this year, what would be your goal?
Honestly, my goal is just get on the field and just become a starter eventually, and whether that's running back, playing receiver, return man, just trying to help the team out in any way possible, honestly, because I'm, like you said, actually, I'm a backup right now, so I'm just trying to find my way on the field and just stay there as long as I can.
Show what you can do. That's right. All right, now we ask 2 questions pretty much every time. One is, if you had an hour to spend with anybody, alive or dead, who would it be and why?
An hour to spend with anybody. Can I pick two?
Yes, you can.
One of them will be Marshawn Lynch.
Ooh.
After those little videos he did on Facebook, I feel like it'll probably be the funniest thing to kick with him for all day long. And I wouldn't even say nothing. I'll just sit there and just watch and just laugh probably because I like laughing. And then another one would definitely be Kevin Hart. And I'm actually kind of mad because he was out here not too long ago, a few days ago, and I couldn't get to it. But Kevin Hart and Marshawn Lynch probably, yep.
Oh, great picks.
Just
great
laugh.
picks. All right. Now, you haven't been here super long, but what do you feel so far? What would you say is the Eskimo way?
Eskimo way, I feel like, is honestly just putting your hard hat on and going to work every day. Yeah. It's definitely a work hard mentality over here. Coach puts these words into our head, especially when we was in camp. Just every single day we had a new word, and like I said, it's basically, if I just had to put one thing on it, just putting on your hard hat and ready to go to work every single day.
That is awesome. Well, best of luck on Thursday. We can't wait to see you on the field. Thanks for doing this, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thanks to Jordan for joining us. That's two Jordans back-to-back, Superfan.
Well, that's got to be a good sign.
Yeah, exactly.
There were a lot of Jordans in town. I think we counted 5 different Jordans on the team.
Exactly. So now we have Jordai. We went from a Derry-eye to Jordai.
It's true.
That's what we have. Oh, that's wonderful. Now, we're hoping to do more of those kind of throughout the season. Sometimes the fan vote is going to be related to the game from the week or current news story. But we'll also ask who you want us to talk to. And with all these new guys, I guess now we need to start talking about some of the stats. We got the stats guy here. So let's talk about some of the things that are coming this year for this new season.
So one of the big things we get to look at this year is, again, Mr. Mike Riley.
Of course.
And
he's only... this big, they call you Mr.
That's right.
That's right. So Mike, last year, being the reigning MOP, he's on the hunt for CFL history. So he's only 411 yards behind a Joe Pow Pow for 26th on the CFL all-time list.
Ooh, nice. Wow. So that'll be like game one. Okay.
That's the immediate goal, right? And in terms of Eskimo history, he's number 2 behind Ricky Ray in all the career categories. And that's just a factor of time.
Yep.
So he's right up there. But one of the things that we kind of alluded to in the Periscope was that, in some of these all-time lists, Mike is right at the top or right near the top. So when you look at like career games where quarterbacks have had 45-plus pass attempts in a game, it's only been done 39 times in team history, and Mike and Ricky Ray are right at the top with 8 games apiece.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
We talked about the pass completions with somebody who has 30-plus pass completions in a game. Again, it's only been done 31 times. Mike's done it at 11.
Wow.
Ricky's done it 10 times. So he's got that lead right there about half the time. Right?
Holy cow.
And then one of the big things, you look at 400-plus yard games. Mm-hmm. We've had 34 of those in team history. And Mike and Ricky Ray are tied in second place with 6. There's a certain guy named Warren Moon who tops out list with 9.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So he's chasing those type of things.
Yeah.
But if you look at his production...
That's not completely out of reach when you think of how last year went.
Well, no. Right. And especially under Jason Moss's offense.
Exactly.
He's excelled the last 2 years, like 2016, 2017. He's either number 2 or 3 in a lot of the attempts, the completion categories, and the yardage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things...
And he always has the top receiver.
Always.
Right? Like the last 2 years, we've had the top receiver.
So who's going to be it this year?
Okay. Who do you think? If you were picking who is going to lead the team in receiving yards this year, who would you pick?
Vidal Hazelton.
Thank you. That's exactly who I was going to pick.
My obvious choice was Darrell Walker, but I agree with Mike.
Yeah. I'm going exactly with...
Darrell is definitely the obvious choice.
Yes.
But I think that they're going to be giving him a lot of those tough yards. You're going to have a lot of guys bracketing Darrell being who he is.
Yes.
That's going to leave a lot of empty space. So that's you're going to see a lot from Duke. You're going to see a lot, hopefully, from Bryant if he's healthy.
Yeah.
And, of course, obviously, we love our Bryant Mitchell.
And co-host Kenny.
Yeah, absolutely. Kenny Stafford is another guy that's going to get good yards, especially in that spot, which doesn't necessarily see a lot of action.
Yes.
When you're covering everything on the boundary side, that field side's wide open. So.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And that being said, too, so Mike's thrown 117 touchdown passes in his career. So looking at who his active leaders on this roster are, you're looking at Darrell Walker with 17 touchdown catches. Stafford with 7, Hazelton with 4, McCarty, Duke with 3, Mitchell with 2, and Gable with 1, for a total of 37 touchdown passes.
Wow.
But you look at what's taken away from him, and just from last year alone. Bowman, he had 28 touchdown catches. Zylstra, 6, and Watson with 5. So that's 39.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what's been taken away from his tool belt. But
You've got
it's a new year.
Yep.
It's a new tool belt.
New guys.
New guys.
new tool belt. I like that.
There you go. He can reload.
Somewhere Tim Taylor is just loving this.
That's awesome. Now, Brian, we talked about this at training camp. You looked up a stat based on the coin toss.
Oh, the coin
and
toss.
And it totally blows my mind. Like, it's so cool.
So I always toss around these theories in my head. Is it how you finish or is it how you start? Well, let's look at how you start. Let's not look at the coin toss. And it's these absurd things that I like to look at that make football interesting. So when you look at the coin toss, 57% of the coin toss winners won their games.
Really?
So it's good to win.
It is.
Especially in BC. Ed, go buy a 2-headed coin. The reason why I say that, whoever won the coin toss in BC Place last year won all 9 games.
Wow.
Really?
Visitors were 6-0. Home team was 3-0.
So if you win the coin toss,
So why
in BC,
bother playing?
I know.
Well, that
Toss
depends.
toss the coin, and he's like, all right, well, it's been fun, guys.
That's great. Yeah,
Let's go golf.
Yeah. It's still nice out. It's middle of October.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But one of the other things you look at, too, is that you have options when you toss the coin. You get to choose, do you want to receive? Do you want a selection at the end of the field or defer? Yeah. So the smart man, logical man says, well, we'll defer. We'll have more information. We make a better choice. Yeah. Well, those who chose to defer only won 50% of the time.
Interesting.
Those who chose to receive won 61.3% of the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
that's an interesting analytic.
So that can go to the understanding of being prepared.
Yeah.
Getting ready to go, having your game plan, being set, and we're going to take the ball and do what we want to do with it.
Enforce your will on the other team.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. I love that.
Oh, yeah. And, well, one of the things you got to look at, too, is who does what the best. And in terms of, who won the most coin tosses? Hamilton. But did they make some good choices? I don't think so. They won the coin toss 11 times out of their 18 games, and they were 3-8 when winning.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
So it's just an odd, absurd stat that gets you thinking. So next time, pay attention to those.
Time. Yeah. I love it. Now, you usually put out stats for the upcoming game, usually on the Tuesday before the game happens every week. Is that about right?
No, I do it on Sundays.
Sundays? Oh,
nice and relaxed.
Okay, yes. Perfect. Excellent. Yeah. Okay, so we'll always keep an eye out for those, and I think we should have a stat of the week. What do you think?
I like it.
Yeah, I might have to do that, where you just take one of those and just have a really good stat every week of this is what to watch for in the game, and then everyone knows to watch for it if Whitey's going to break a record or do whatever. We've got all the, I've got confidence in him. So that's
exactly.
That's where I think we might have to do that. These are awesome.
It's one of my favorite parts of the media guide when it comes out every year is it could happen this year.
It could happen, yeah.
Those are some amazing things where this person is X number of yards away from this receiving record or this place in the hierarchy, or this person needs this many touches or rushes. It's a really cool. If you haven't had a chance to pick up the media guide, they put them out every year and kind of look through that, and it's fun to go through the year looking to see these milestones get knocked down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every time you go to a game, either be at Commonwealth or anywhere across the country, you get a chance to see history.
Sure.
And you get to talk about it. Let it be something on the field or something like the weather. Yep. It's like, I remember that game when I froze my tuchus off, or
or other parts of your Bud Steen's crew.
nice callback. Yeah,
well, I remember attending a game at Old Taylor Field, and it was blowing so hard. I tell you, I was just grabbing the lady next to me. I was just grabbing the lady next to me just so I stayed hunkered to the bench.
The riders definitely blow hard. So
that's very well done. Well done. All right, we got some great stats to go through. Let's take a really quick break, and we'll come back with the Esks History Moment, our Week 1 Pick'em and Fantasy, and of course the brand new CFPN Game Preview and the night before football.
This is Nate Bahar here.
This is a quick boat thing. Listen
to the Eskimo Empire Podcast. Let's go, Esks.
The Eskimo Empire Podcast is brought to you by United Construction Company. As a full-service commercial general contractor, United Construction Company serves large and small-scale commercial, light industrial, and multifamily residential construction projects across Western Canada. UCC is a relationship-focused builder, forming a trust and respect that is at the forefront of their commitment to quality, value, and integrity. Visit their website at unitedconstruction.ca to find out more and support them as they support the Empire.
You can join the Empire online. Find us at sempire.ca. All of our social channels are there. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, plus our blogs, extra pics, and the link to our Patreon page. You can also get more history at Esks History on Twitter and This Day in Esks History on Facebook. From the Empire team, thanks again for listening. Now let's get back to the show.
Welcome back. It is time for the Eskimo History Moment.
Let's hear you cheer and holler for a mighty famous team. Let's hear you roar, you know what, for a team that's on the beat. Our voices rise up to the skies, the fans are glad to scream. We love those Eskimos.
welcome back to the Eskimos History Moment. This week we wanted to look at a long-serving offensive lineman in Eskimos history, Hector Pothier, who celebrates his 64th birthday this week.
Nice.
So Hector Pothier started his senior football career playing for McGill and then St. Mary's Universities in the 1970s. Pothier was a 4-time All-Conference All-Star and a 3-time All-Canadian, as well as winning the J.P. Metris Award for the top Canadian university lineman in the country. Originally drafted by the Montreal Alouettes in the second round of the 1977 CFL draft.
Good thing he's smart enough.
That's true. He was acquired in a trade with Montreal for 1976 Eskimos draft pick defensive back Daryl Penner, who never actually played for the Owls. So I think we won that trade.
Probably.
We won that.
So Heck joined our Eskimos in 1978 as a rookie and backed up to start the season, but worked his way into the lineup by the end and never relinquished his spot at offensive tackle on the line. As he is deaf in one ear, he had to switch sides to better hear the calls, where he began to blossom at the position. Pothier always had a style of his own. He rolled up to his first practice in 1978 wearing sandals and a full-length Jamaican-style flowing robe. Because of his trademark beard and bald dome, he was called Upside Down Head by many of his teammates. Pothier amassed more accolades in his 12 years in the Canadian Football League. He was a member of 6 Grey Cup winning teams, as well as being named 4-time Western Division All-Star in 1981, and to end his career in 87, 88, and 89, and was a CFL All-Star in 1981. He also won the Tom Pate Memorial Award in 1988 for his outstanding contributions to the community. He always believed in giving back. He was a founding member of the Canadian Football League Alumni Association, a long-standing member of the Edmonton Eskimo Alumni Association, and is a current member of the executive. He's been a teacher in the Edmonton area since the early 1980s and has helped raise generation after generation of fans of all ages. For his skills both on and off the field, Pothier was named to the Eskimos Wall of Honor on October 13, 2014, alongside fellow offensive lineman Bill Stevenson. Can the Canadian Football Hall of Fame be far behind? Stay tuned.
Going for a touchdown. Going for a touchdown. Going for a touchdown. We love those Eskimos.
Ooh, another nice ending, Superfan. Well
Wow,
done.
thank you.
Yeah, so you're getting really good at those.
Well, once in a while. Sometimes I just stop talking.
Okay, well,
Just trail off into nothingness.
Yeah.
Hope the theme song starts playing.
it makes it so much more fun for
That's
us.
right.
Yeah, it's wonderful. All right, let's get to it, folks. It is week 1 in the CFL regular season. Now, I don't know if you guys heard, but today they announced CFL Game Time show with
Yes.
Brody and Davis going to every city at some point in the season.
Yeah, they're going to be
Now,
fantastic.
Brody has never been to Edmonton, and I have bugged her about it many times.
That is just...
They are coming
unconscionable.
in August. We have already been in contact to try and set up a podcast when she's here. Hopefully get the two of them here.
They've both been
but
on via phone. But
That's
never
right.
been there in person.
Now we'll do this live. But
That's right.
I am so excited about the series. I can't wait to watch it. And
Oh,
I think
they're
it's going to
always
be
great.
a great addition. And I mean, Brody and Davis are real easy to watch. So it's, they're so fun and they're knowledgeable. And I really like what they do.
Yep, absolutely. It's every last couple of years they've been really getting better and better every season at the not just the football things, but the things in between the football games.
Yes.
Talking about the football, leading up to the football games, breaking down it's just great to see. And Brody's been outstanding.
Yes.
Since she's been with the league the last few years. So
and reaching out to fans, the CFL grind, all these other things.
exactly. And then
like,
Davis is getting more and more experience. He's been on the panel on TSN,
Yes.
of course, the Waggle and everything else, and doing his color commentary for the Montreal.
He's
It's
not afraid of a mic.
No,
Let's
it's
go.
very true. And he's been on the show, and it was a great episode. So
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm looking forward to that in a lot of ways. So make sure you're checking that out. Now, being that it is week 1, it is time for our Pick'em to start. So make sure you join our group. We shared out the link on Monday. We'll share it a couple more times. The first game this week, as it turns out, is the Eskimos taking on the
best one.
Bombers in Winnipeg. Exactly. Now, which means it's time for our kind of second newish segment. We are now deeming this the Canadian Football Podcast Network Game Preview. So every week we're going to be joined by a member of the network to preview the Esks game, against whoever they are playing. So make sure you're following at CF Pod Network on Twitter, and of course the Canadian Football Podcast Network on Facebook page. You'll hear from all these amazing podcasters. But this week we are joined by one of our good friends in Winnipeg. John Hodge joins us from the Blue Bomber Talk podcast. So welcome back, John. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, guys. How about yourself?
Doing very well. We really appreciate you. Now, you're actually on the premiere episode of the Canadian Football Podcast Network Game Preview. So I hope you feel the honor in that.
I am swelling with pride as we speak.
I knew
that's what they call it.
I knew it. Well, let's get into the Bombers Eskimos here on Friday. So, I mean, there's always a ton to talk about as far as cuts and all those types of things, but I think the main question that people want answered is, of course, after the Nichols injury and the announcement today of Strevler being the starter, what's your confidence in the quarterback situation for the first 6 weeks of the season here?
I mean, look, the Bombers right now, I mean, it's coming down to they've got 3 quarterbacks, and I'll talk a little bit about each. And at the end of the day, given the fact that none of these guys have proven anything, I think your confidence has to be, essentially zero at this point in time. We have to wait and see what these guys can do, because the best indicator of future success is prior success, and these guys haven't enjoyed any in the league at this point in time, at least. And so the guy who's going to be getting the start is Chris Strevler. Chris Strevler is a rookie. He played last year at the University of South Dakota. He spent his first 2 years in college at the University of Minnesota, redshirted for a year, then played for 2 years. They actually converted him to receiver in his second year. He's an athletic freak. He's got good size. He's 6'2", approximately 215 pounds. He runs a 4.45 with a 38-inch vertical. So He's one of the most athletic players on the field, regardless of position. He can run faster and jump higher than a lot of receivers in the CFL. With that being said, after he decided he wanted to play quarterback, he actually finished his undergrad in 3 years. He has a master's as well that he completed while playing football at South Dakota. He started there for 2 years. He was phenomenal. He led them to the playoffs last year. But of course, he's never played professional football. His lone pass attempts have come in the preseason. He was phenomenal the first preseason game, went 10 of 10, 140 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Second preseason game, not as pretty. 3 of 9, had a dropped interception to Odell Willis. He also threw a pick six to Otha Foster. So that's where he's coming from. The backup, Alex Ross, might sound familiar to some people. He was in BC last year, impressed in training camp, but only got a little bit of a look in regular action, completed 5 of 12 passes, threw 2 picks, and so he was cut. The new regime, Ed Hervey came in. They decided to go in a different direction with their developmental quarterbacks, and the Bombers picked him up. Last but not least is Brian Bennett, who's just like Chris Streveler, a phenomenal athlete, can run really, really well. But he's a guy who the Bombers had on the PR in 2016, got cut. 2017, he got picked up by Saskatchewan, got cut in their camp, and he's basically back as the number 3 because Durant is retired and Matt Nichols is hurt. And so Bennett he was a late addition. He was also hurt. He played in I think it was called the U-Call Football League. It was a new football league set up in the springtime this year in the States. So he played there, got hurt, was out for a while. He's now healthy, but he's still just getting amalgamated in the offense. So we're going to see Streveler. My confidence level right now is 0, and we'll have to see as the game goes on. And that's not a knock by any stretch of the imagination on any of the 3 quarterbacks who may or may not play on Thursday. That's just the reality. They have to show what they can do and prove that they can lead the offense at least relative to their experience level before I'm going to put anything on them in terms of expectations.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, the last guy that goes straight from college to starting a CFL game did all right, but, that
took a while, though.
Yeah, it was 24 years ago, so we might some changes.
Yeah.
So everybody knows that we love us some running backs here. So, and you've got obviously one of the absolute best in Andrew Harris, but we know you really love a guy that last year was an Eskimo in training camp, Johnny Augustine. So can you tell us about his role and how he got that job with the Bombers?
Well, I think one of the keys for Johnny Augustine is the fact that Keenan LaFrance, who's a local product, who everybody figured would be, one of the primary backups to Andrew Harris. Timothy Flanders is also still with the Bombers, though as an American would provide the Bombers with a little bit of less ratio flexibility if they were to start him. But LaFrance was hurt all through camp. I know he was running around at practice just a little bit today, but he's likely not going to be ready to start the season. And so that opened the door for Johnny Augustine, and he absolutely kicked it down when given the opportunity. He rushed for 81 yards in the Bombers' home preseason game. Didn't get as much in the way of production in the second preseason game in BC, but he largely was playing against BC's ones, and he was running behind the Bombers' second and third string offensive lines throughout that game. I've loved Augustine since the Combine last year in Regina. Augustine was phenomenal in the blocking drills. He looked great in the pass-catching drills, and he looked solid in the rushing drills. He put on such a stellar performance, in fact, that he was added to the CFL Scouting Bureau top 20 rankings. He got the 17th spot going into the draft, and then he went undrafted, which is part of the reason, at least, especially now, I take those rankings with a big grain of salt, because I know that personnel people will lie and mislead based on how they vote, because they don't want to overvalue guys that they want, and they want to undervalue guys. So, if you want to pick, if you fall in love with an offensive lineman who you think should probably be the 10th ranked prospect, why are you going to vote to put them in the top 10 or even the top 20? You don't want anybody else to think he's any good, so that you can get him where you want to get him. And that's not me misleading anybody. That happens. Legit. All 9
There's no gamesmanship.
So anyways, Augustine goes undrafted. And I just the other thing is he's just an exceptional young person. The way that he talks about last year and the struggle and disappointment that it was to not get drafted, to get cut by the Eskimos, and then to get cut after minicamp. He was in minicamp with the Riders actually in March, April, and so he this is his 3rd opportunity, and he's still really yet to get his career going, but I believe he's going to be on the roster game 1. As for his role, I don't know. LaFrance being out means I think he'll dress. I think there's a possibility we'll see him as a kickoff returner. I think there's a possibility we'll see him as a little bit of a change of pace guy. But this early in the season, I think they want to get Andrew Harris all the touches they can before they start to add up. So I don't know if we'll see him on offense, but I think we'll see him dress, and I think we'll see him contribute one way or another.
Yeah, I'm okay if they give Harris a little bit of a night off. That's fine. I mean, as an Eskimo fan, I think that's what I'm supposed to say, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the one thing the Eskimo fans are going to want to know is how is our former receiver there, Darius Bowman, fitting in, and what's he bringing to the team on the field and off the field?
I mean, I can't speak to what he's bringing off the field. I know that he's drawn rave reviews for his professionalism, for the way in which he's mentored young guys in camp. The Bombers drafted 2 receivers with their 2 top picks this year. They got Rashawn Simonides out of the University of Calgary at 12th overall. They got Daniel Peterman out of McMaster at 26th overall. And
Great
both
pick.
of those guys who I talked to at the first day training camp talked about how they look to Adarius already for leadership and for that type of mentoring that a veteran receiver can provide. As for on the field, I think that Adarius Bowman in many ways is the missing ingredient to this offense. Over the last couple of years, I think that the thing that's been missing with the Bombers on offense is that big-bodied second down receiver that can move the chains when you need to. And, for example, last year in the playoffs, Darvin Adams got hurt going over the middle. I don't think Darvin Adams is a guy you want going over the middle. He's dominant at boundary wide. I don't think you want him playing in the slot. I don't think you want him taking those hits. And that's why he got hurt last year. Playoffs last year, they were relying on LaDamian Washington. They were relying on Matt Coates to get those second downs. And as much as, I don't want to disrespect either of those players, neither of them are going to be CFL stars. And so, if you look at a Manny Arsenault in BC, if you look at an S.J. Green in Toronto, a lot of quarterbacks, Markway McDaniel's been that guy for years in Calgary before his retirement this offseason. Particularly for young quarterbacks, and the Bombers are going to be fielding a very young quarterback, regardless of who starts for the next little bit. They, I think, are going to benefit tremendously from having a guy who's seen every possible defense that a CFL team can throw at them, a guy who knows how to run every route in the book, knows exactly when to sit down in zone coverage, exactly how to beat man, a guy who's going to be there as that safety blanket to convert on 2nd and 6, 2nd and 7, 2nd and 8, and keep the chains moving, which is what Paulopoulos' offense is at the end of the day. It's not a big, busted open, home run type of offense. It's a ball control offense that chews up the clock, chews up first downs, and I think Bowman is that guy who can take those hits and convert those tough second downs.
Well, and then you're welcome. Because that's we're all going to miss him here for sure.
Yeah. I'll say this too. I believe, and this I'll have to temper this maybe a little bit, given the fact that the Bombers are going to be, rotating quarterbacks at the beginning of the year, and we will see when Matt Nichols comes back and the condition that he's in when he does come back. But I think that Adarius Bowman will be an 1,100-yard receiver this season.
Ooh. Bold predictions already.
Write it down.
I better jot that down. Right. Well, we have it on record.
That's true.
If he stays healthy, I'll throw that. If he stays healthy,
that's good. That's a good one to put in there. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. All right. That's fair. That's fair. Now, last quick question. Sleeper pick for somebody who's going to have a big year on the Bombers, other than Adarius.
For sleeper, I'm going to throw out Jackson Jeffcoat,
nice.
Pass rusher who was a rookie last year. Didn't qualify for Rookie of the Year consideration because he had suited up for NFL games in the past, but a guy who played his college football at Texas, got the NFL out of his system over a few years. I believe primarily with Washington, maybe a little bit of Dallas. I'd have to look that up. But a guy who I think is your perfect prototypical build for a CFL pass rusher, 6'3", about 260. And a guy who last year really came on strong. He didn't draft to start the season last year, if I recall correctly. It wasn't until a little bit later on that he started getting more looks, and then eventually he took over as far as the number one pass rushing spot goes. I think Craig Rowe will get reps, Trent Corney will get reps, Tristan Opala-Ugo will still get reps. But I think Jackson Jeffcoat is going to not only establish himself as the number one pass rusher in Winnipeg, but I think he could be. I think he could cement himself as one of the top pass rushers in the CFL, which would be tremendous for him because he's a pending free agent and a new CBA next year means that he's going to get paid all of the money. So, I think he'll have a great year, and it's definitely in his best interest to have a great year because it'll certainly pay off come the off season.
Awesome. Well, John, we love chatting with you, especially when we're coming up to a Blue Bomber game. I've said it many, many times. I love your in-depth knowledge of the team and the way that you hang around it and know everything about it. So thanks so much for coming on. Make sure you plug your podcast. Tell everybody where they can find you and listen to more of your awesome information.
Sure. You can follow me at John D. Hodge on Twitter. I host the Blue Bomber Talk podcast with my brother Tim. And you can, of course, find all of my written work at 3downnation.com.
That is fantastic. Thanks so much, man. And, of course, good luck this week.
Thank you very much, boys. Anytime.
Oh, man. I love talking to John.
Oh, I mean,
he's so brilliant in Bomber stuff.
And so incredibly knowledgeable about
I'd love to go to a combine with him.
I would love to go to the combine with him. It would just be mind-blowing. Yeah. I would just sit there and soak it in.
Yeah, just sit right next to him. Yeah. Sit
no,
there, arms
don't have
crossed,
to. Yeah.
Binoculars.
Yeah, I'll just listen. Just keep talking. What do you think of this guy? Okay, good. Yeah, okay. Make sure you check out the Blue Bomber Talk podcast as he told you. Now, on our side, guys, we're looking at the Esks. So let's start with who are you watching in this game?
It's the first game, so you almost basically want to watch everybody. One guy that we've talked about on this podcast and had some great interactions on Fan Day is Gerald Rivers. Mm-hmm. I'm just dying to see what this guy can do when the bullets are flying for real. Yeah, he's in a good spot. He's going to be possibly rotating with either Badman Bazzi or our favorite Earthquaku, but he can cause a lot of havoc from that edge, so I can't wait to see what he can do.
Absolutely. Brian, is there somebody you're going to be watching this game?
Well, I'm going to watch just right next to him. I want to watch Armando and Serezna.
All right.
I want to see how they plug up the middle, control that line.
Now, here's the question. Do you think it'll be Serezna who starts, or do you think it'll be Moore? I
have a hunch Moore. I think Moore will start, but Jake Serezna, what I've seen at minicamp, what I've seen at training camp, I want to see how they work together full speed against, a live line.
Yeah.
So I don't think it really matters in this case who starts. I think you're just going to see a lot of rotation. Mm-hmm. So even though Moore might take those first snaps, they're going to put Serezna in, then Moore, and then Amon.
Entirely possible, yeah.
I think that they want to keep everybody fresh because there's going to be so much push up that middle, and especially when you got those ends, as long as they can contain and give pressure, it's going to be a scary line.
Absolutely.
And on the flip side, on the offense, I'm going to watch Sorensen. I want to see how he controls the center of that line. It's going to be the battle in the trenches, and I think they're going to set the tone early.
I hope so. I think if there is one concern I had with this game, it is the offensive line and where is the tackles position. Colin Kelly definitely stepped up at the end of last year and definitely started to impress me as the end of the season kind of wrapped up. I thought he did much better. I'm just not really sure on that other side. Right now, I'd have to assume that Draheim won that position.
Well, it certainly sounds like it because who else is left?
Who else? Exactly. So I'm very curious to watch that offensive line. I think out of this game, if I had to pick something specific that I was going to be watching, it'll be the offensive line and the kick returns. And those are the two ones. Although I guess there's an argument to be made now of watching our DBs, being that Johnny Adams and Arjun Colhoun have not practiced all week, and we don't know if Grimes will be back in time.
Yeah.
You better get a program so you can know who's actually on this game. So
that depth chart is going to be nasty on Wednesday.
Oh yeah, well we're
comes
certainly
out as the pod comes out. Yeah,
you don't know what's going on, why they've been absent from practice. Because we haven't been there, we don't know if they're in the training room working out, or they're on the sidelines, or if they're just in civvies watching. Like, it's really hard to say. I don't know if this is gamesmanship. I don't know if this is something we should be concerned about. We were pretty thrilled about the way our defensive secondary was shaping up as we were getting into camp, watching everybody. Even you were starting to come around a little bit on Johnny Adams, which was, a good thing.
Yeah.
It means you got to find somebody else. But maybe it'll be the right tackle. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I certainly hope that they're doing well.
Yeah.
But I guess we're going to see in a couple of days. Basically, when this podcast comes out, we'll know.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. We could be seeing Jordan Hoover playing right out in that corner on first
another
game.
Jordan.
Well, another Jordan. Well, we better get him on the show. We have too many. We have all these. He has to be next week, I guess.
That's right.
All right, perfect. The Jordai. So let's talk about picks then. Brian, I'll let you pick first as you're the guest. Who do you pick in this game and why?
I'm taking the Eskimos, and it's going to come down to one position, and that's the quarterback position.
Yeah.
As much as we talk about our defensive backs and these new lines, at that one position, we have an overwhelming edge.
I would tend to agree. Yeah, absolutely. Super fan.
Yeah, I got to agree with Brian. If Nichols was in this game, it certainly is going to be a lot more toss-up to me. It's in Winnipeg. But with Nichols down, and you're talking about a guy that has never taken a snap in a regular game in the pros, if Benny is calling this game the way we've seen it in camp, it was a much more aggressive defense.
Yep.
I think we could see some more sacks, hopefully, or certainly a lot more pressures.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, you can get maybe a young quarterback off his game, and we'll feast on that.
Yeah, so you're picking the Esks then, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, and Kayla picked the Esks as well, and I am picking the Esks as well. I know it's all great and shocking, but I mean, for all the reasons you guys said, my only concern, and it's the concern every time I have when we play Andrew Harris, he's an Eskimo killer, and when you have a young quarterback, they better put a spy on Andrew Harris, because they're going to be dumping the ball to him and letting him take off. So,
as they should.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be very interesting to see how that gets controlled, because last year the run game was one of our weaker points.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we got to keep our linebackers healthy.
Yes.
I mean, they were both injured last year, and that's certainly a large part of it. Especially when you have an undersized middle linebacker like JC is. He punches way above his weight.
But it'll be nice to see him back in there.
Oh, God, it's going to be so good.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Exactly. And of course, Money White. All right, let's go through the rest of our games, shall we? The next one is Toronto versus Saskatchewan. This one in Ryderville. Mike, who do you got in this one?
I'm going to go with the Argos in this one. I was certainly not impressed by the last Saskatchewan game in the preseason. I still haven't seen enough out of Zach Collaros to make me a believer again. I know he's going against his first team in the Argonauts, but ever since with Ray and with that coaching staff, I think that it's just getting better and better. I think Toronto's going to be taking the East, and I think they start with a win in Regina.
All right. Kayla also picked the Argos, and so am I. I mean, I'm picking the Argos mostly because, it's against Saskatchewan and James Franklin plays for Toronto. But still, I do think that as an overall picture, I think that Toronto likely is going to gel as a unit faster than Saskatchewan, because, again, they're overhauling guys. And the release of Travis Bond totally boggles my mind out of Saskatchewan, because
they got him to replace Derek Dennis.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And then now you've got a quarterback who already has a history of having a bit of happy feet because of injury, and I'm not sure what that offensive line is like, and I'm not really sure where their Canadian starter depth is either. So I'm going to give the edge to Toronto in game one. Brian?
The only other thing, I agree with everybody here with Toronto, and the only thing is that you give that Toronto coaching staff a year to get ready for that first game, and with Ricky Ray pulling the trigger, I think they're going to be successful.
Okay, yeah, I tend to agree. All right, next game is Hamilton versus Calgary. This one is in Calgary. So Kayla begrudgingly picked the Stamps. I am also going to pick the Stamps because they're at home, and because I think that although Hamilton is going to be a better team, I don't know if they're going to be that much better right away to be able to beat a team like the Stampeders off the top.
I agree with that too, because again, it comes down to that quarterback position.
Yes.
As much as Hamilton is getting better there, they got Bo Levi Mitchell. He has seen and done a lot in the last 2-3 years. And again, that coaching staff getting ready for that first game of the year, they're going to throw some stuff at Hamilton that Johnny Football's never seen.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he'll be...
Oh, no, even from the sideline, there's going to be some stuff he's never seen. Watch out for the horse.
No, I like that. That's good. Superfan.
Johnny Football's going to come into this game, throw for 600. No, that's going to happen.
Nice.
I think that you certainly saw Hamilton improve a lot as June Jones came in, as Mazzoli got a lot more comfortable under the June Jones offense. And I think that they are going to be something a lot better this year, certainly than they were last year. But I just don't think it's yet. If this game was in Hamilton, there might be a little bit of a closer game, but it is at McMahon Stadium. And again, much like Webmistress Kayla, I'm going to begrudgingly give this one to podcaster Ryan's boys, the whatever they're called.
The horses. Yeah. They have horsies.
The mules.
That's perfect. Love it. Last one. Montreal versus BC. Do I even have to go to all of us? We're all picking...
do? No.
What?
I'm taking Montreal with the upset.
Seriously?
I am.
Wow.
You don't bet against the Willie.
What's in your cup?
Oh my God. We didn't even feed you drinks and you picked Montreal. What is going on?
Hey, if Montreal has a chance this year, it's going to come down to game one, executing and them winning this game.
Really?
I am saying that they are drinking the Kool-Aid. They're going to be pumped
Somebody's drinking something.
And they are going to be ready to take down the BC Lions.
Wow.
It's a battle of former Eskimo GMs, right? You're looking at Cavis, you're looking at Ed.
Yeah, okay. I think you're on your own island there.
I think
the Statsman goes with Montreal. It does make me think twice, but
if they win the coin toss, they're winning.
That is true. I'm going to go with the more successful of the two former Eskimo GMs. If I was going to pick an upset this week, it was probably going to be the Hamilton-Calgary one.
Yeah.
This one, I just don't... I haven't been a big fan of Drew Willie, even when he was in Saskatchewan, let alone with Toronto or Winnipeg or any other team. I just don't... I don't believe in the...
You don't believe in the Willie?
The rise of the Willie. So...
I love this. I hope he stays quarterback all year. I really
the junior high boy in Andrew is just giddy.
So fantastic.
Maybe you never know. Again, that coin toss could be it. That could be the deciding factor.
I'm counting on it.
The coin toss could go over and I'll be like, well, son of a gun, looks like they won.
The tweets on Saturday night when that coin toss happens are going to be ridiculous.
Somewhere Mauritian's going to be like, damn it! Just the coin toss.
Exactly.
Then he goes home.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I already know how this one ends. Yeah, I can leave. Yeah.
Rod Black is going to cover the coin toss.
I think he should. Yeah.
Who's the coin's daddy?
Nice.
That's all that matters. It's Rod Black.
The dollar bill. Oh my God. All right. Let's, this seems like an odd segue, but now let's talk about fantasy, shall we?
I think we're knee deep in fantasy right now.
Think about football here. If you had one player that you're picking to put on your team this week for fantasy, who is it?
Mike Riley. No question. After the year he's had, I mean, they're talking about fantasy years. They've gone back. Mike Riley's in the top 5 all time.
Yes.
Based on last year. And I think he's going to be picking up where he left off. He's got people that really know him. He's got Gable doing some blocking and some running.
Yep.
Yeah. I got to go with the MOP.
Absolutely. Brian?
I'm going Bo Levi Mitchell.
Ooh.
I think
against Hamilton.
From what I've seen both games on TV with Hamilton, I think that secondary can be had. So,
all right, I'm going to go homer picks, but I'm picking the Eskimo defense against a rookie quarterback. But the other hot deal that I found, Duke Williams is like $2,800.
Wow,
on fantasy.
Load him up.
You gotta take that pick.
Yep.
Like that is a bargain price.
They're forcing you to take Duke.
That is totally.
See, I can afford him because I'm taking Riley.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was looking.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I would totally pick up Duke Williams. I think that he's got a chance to put up some points at a cheap cost.
Perfect.
So go that way. All right, everyone. It is that time.
Tis. We've been waiting all year.
All right, it is time for the night before football. So here we go. 'Twas the night before football all across this great nation. CFL is returning to the fans' jubilation. Fans came in all sizes, some young and some old, and they all wore their colors green, red, black, or gold. They've been waiting since winter, saying, "Is it June yet?" Now the camps are all over and the rosters all set. Every fan is a flutter, every stadium done up. Every team is just hoping to win the Grey Cup. It's Wally's last season as the Lions head man. With Hervey in town, winning is the new plan. The Stamps saw some changes. Bo still is the linchpin, but they may get the big game, but we know they can't win. More shakeups for the Riders. Jones changes en masse. Will this lineup work out or bite him in the cheeks? No Nichols for Bombers. 70K gone for some reason. Will the addition of Big Hill help to save Winnipeg's season? Back in the hammer, the team starts to gel. TSN can't mention Cats without saying Manziel. Argo's the champs. Ricky's ready to begin. No worries if he's hurt. They now have James Franklin. It's a hard one to go through. The Red Blacks have offense. Harris, Spencer are studs. But in fantasy football, don't forget the buds. Montreal has a team. Let's try not to be silly. But do you trust a team that is led by a Willie? And then there's our Esks. Now listen here, Sonny. Our offense is Mossum and Sean White is money. Cover our receivers. You're welcome to try it. Duke, Walker, and Kenny. And don't forget Bryant. Earthquaku and Mondo, backfields they will roam. As it's time for this team to bring the cup home. Each team starts out even, each team has a chance, each D to prevent, each O to advance. The season goes quick, let's all try to remember, the effort starts now, so you play in November. So it's time, hurry quick, grab a drink and a snack. It's time for CFL kickoff, baby football is back. Love it.
Goosebumps.
Every year I love doing it. All right, so this is, it's always fun. Brian, I love you coming here, chatting football with us. We have some great laughs and some amazing stats.
The night is always too short.
It's always too short, exactly. Tell everyone where they can find you on Twitter and all of the wonderful stats that you put out on the team.
At Uncle BD.
Perfect. Lovely. It's easy way to find it. And that's why we call you BD.
Mm-hmm.
Is that why?
That is. Weird. Yes, exactly. Webmistress Kayla, make sure you're following her at Duchess Lombardi and, of course, the Instagram at Eskimo Empire Podcast.
See how it just roll off your tongue there?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, it's like I've practiced.
All day in front of a mirror.
That's right. Superfan, where do we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at 56Parkies and then the history at Esks History.
Perfect. And you can find me at Free Policious and, of course, the show at Esk Empire Pod. Thank you again to our sponsor, United Construction Company. Check out their website at unitedconstruction.ca. You down with UCC? Yeah, you know me. Perfect. And, of course, remember to email us if you want to join in Westivus at the park, where we're watching the game August 9th.
Gonna be fun.
Oh, it's so much fun. I can't wait. Make sure you find us on all of our social channels. You can find all the links on eskempire.ca. We will be back next week, and we will be joined by in-stadium host Chris Sheets before the home opener.
Down in the Turf District.
Oh, it's going to be fun, I tell you. So are we ready to see an improvement in the return game?
Absolutely.
Is it time for the Esks defense to be more aggressive?
Absolutely.
And is it time to get this offense on the field and rack up some points for an Esks win?
Absolutely.
For Brian, Webmistress Kayla, and Superfan Mike, I'm Andrew. Remember, you can't catch footballs with your face, and we will absolutely talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening. Find more great shows like this at CF Pod Network on Twitter.